Hello and welcome. The Talaria XXX is finally here after being out of stock for many months. Let's get into the initial impressions and cue the montage. So you might already know I already have the new Talaria Sting R right here. This isn't going to be a side-by-side comparison, but I probably will be making some comparisons since I've had this bike for over 2 months. Now let's get back to the X. So technically this is the Talaria XXX Black Edition. What makes it the Black Edition is it has a beefed up seat subframe for up to 250-pound riders. There were reports that the seat was bending for heavier riders. Now it's the American version. It also is now shipping with the DNM suspension, where it has 3 adjustments: rebound, preload, and compression. And of course, the bike comes with supermoto wheels, but now you have an option to have it come out of the box with MX tires. So here's what you get. These are the MX wheels, 19 up front, 17 in the rear, some knobbies. CST, never heard of this brand, but they are straight from the Talaria factory. It also comes with another nice gold chain, some bling bling, and some spacers. But it's cool that they give you the option if you just want the MX tires and not the supermotos out of the box. So a few specs to get out of the way before we get to riding. This battery is a 40 amp hour battery at 60 volts. It has a 95% efficient IPM motor. This is the same as a Sting R motor. So these are 17-inch supermoto wheels, and it has 4 piston hydraulic brakes. It also comes with giant 220 millimeter brake rotors front and back. What also is cool that my Sting R does not have is it has a headlight with 3 different positioning: daytime running light, high beam, or all 3. And it only weighs 125 pounds. This DNM suspension is an 8-inch suspension front and rear. So this one's great because it has a lower seating height by 2 inches compared to the Sting R, and it's a lot narrower. Now, in order to remove this giant battery here, you're going to have to take off the rear wheel if you wanted to do that. It's a 5-minute job, otherwise you just plug in from the other side. But before we go for a ride, we have to do one other thing, and if you know, you know. And now, for the moment of truth. Now let's get riding. Here we go. This is the Talaria XXX first ride review. Initial impressions. First thing is that the regen is very strong. Lunicycle tuned it themselves. So now Gen 4, if you're on regen number 4, this is how strong it is. Look. It brings me to a grinding halt, but I am on a downhill. So we are actually in Eagle, Colorado currently, and it is absolutely gorgeous out here. This is where all the ski resorts are, like Aspen, Copper Mountain, and Breckenridge. Good old Breckie. I hope you can hear me all right. I don't have my internal helmet mic yet, so it's just recording off of this mic. Hopefully it's all right. That is one thing I noticed. I may start comparing it to the Sting R just because I've had the Sting R for a couple of months now. But because of the belt drive, it is a little bit louder. All right, let's see if we could get somewhere where we can open it up a little bit. It just feels like it just wants to go more and more and more. Okay, right up here, let's blast it, see what happens. Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah, baby. It feels so good with these supermoto wheels. Feels like you can carve these corners really easy. Look at this. You couldn't really do this in the knobs. Yeah, sure you can, but you're not hugging this hard. Or at least I feel like I'm hugging. Maybe I'm not, but feels like it. So obviously this bike is going to be a lot narrower than the Sting R. As you can tell, the seat's going to be thinner. So if you're a big person, you might want to get a little more cushion on here or whatnot. Just for reference, I am 6'1", 200 pounds. And I don't know if I look like a clown on this yet.
like a big person on a small bike. But I don't feel that way. It doesn't ride that way, at least. I know a lot of other people that are even bigger than I am, taller in stature, that ride this bike, but they have no complaints. I mean, for my size, I'd probably want a little bit of a rise on here, just so I can be up a little bit higher. But for your average person that's under 6 foot, this might feel just right without any adjustments. I'm gonna adjust the regen. It's just a little bit too much, but it's nice to have so you can save your brake pads. We'll keep it on 3 or keep it on 2. Even 2 regen brake is really strong. So shout out to Lunacycle for tuning this correctly. On my MX4, brake regen 1, 2, 3, 4, they almost all feel the same. There really is no stopping power. But with this, you could feel like the engine is stopping you for that regen. Oh man, this is great. Oh! Oh! I almost hit that pigeon flying around just because I'm as fast as that pigeon. I'm sure this bike is just as fast as the MX4. Before the MX4, I've never owned an e-bike, but I've wanted a Sur-Ron for years, like 4 or 5 years. I've always drooled over them. I thought they were awesome. I got to test ride one, and I knew it was going to be in my future. And as soon as Talaria announced the MX4, I bought it the same day. And now that the X is here, this is just as fun. This is like great to be just on road. A little shredding machine, urban assault. It feels amazing, super light, nimble. Look at this. Just feels so good to ride. But I like the way it sounds actually. Woo! Yeah, baby! Yeah! Oh yeah, that's good stuff right there. Another like really cool thing about these e-bikes is, if you ever wondered like, hey, I've never gone down this street. What's up there? What's on the left? What's on the right? Well, with the e-bike, it's just so fast and fun that you'll end up exploring your whole city. And you can get there very quickly. So say, for example, like this street, like, what is this, the Shire? It's like Frank Lloyd Wright's house built right into the hill. How cool is this? Look at this. It's like somebody's house that's built into the landscape. How cool, that is awesome. And without the bike, I would have never known this house existed. I could say the same for a lot of things around my neighborhood. If it wasn't for this bike, I wouldn't be exploring this much. Really fun. I actually really think that the brakes on this is really good. I don't know who's telling you that the brakes aren't good on these Talarias, but fresh out of the box, I think they got a pretty good bite. Especially on this bike, I feel like this bike brakes might be a little better than the MX4. I mean, it has the same size rotor, 220 mil rotor, and 25 pounds lighter, so that's really gonna translate into better stopping power. But yeah, if you have, you know, $3,000, $3,500 to spare, one thing that I'll mention is that you get a lot of attention. On my MX4, everybody asks me about it. Here are the top 3 questions they ask you. Number 1, how much does that thing cost? Number 2, how far does it go? Number 3, how fast is it? Guarantee you, when you get this bike, they're gonna ask you about those 3 questions over and over and over. But this might be the best value in the e-bike game. Again, apologies for me yelling. I only have the mic that's on the outside of the camera. I don't have one inside the helmet. I will be getting that, so apologies if I'm yelling. Okay, when I saw that cop earlier, I did get a little freaked out. so let me calm it down a little bit. But look how nimble this thing is. First ride review is, this is probably the most fun you're gonna have on two wheels, honestly. Right now, Luna's gonna sell this shipped to your door for $35.50. Now, I honestly think that that's still a good price. It's not as good as $3,000 with the initial introductory price. I got it at $3,500, and I'm still not that upset about it because this is so much fun. Gorgeous out here. Look at this mountainside. Now, this review is coming from someone who has never ridden dirt bikes before as growing up or anything. I was never, you know, I grew up dirt poor. We never had anything. Dirt bikes just wasn't even in my vocabulary. But now that I'm older and can afford these things, this is like my childhood. I'm reliving my childhood that I never had. But I have owned several motorcycles. Suzuki SV650, that was a lot of fun. Also had the Yamaha MT-09 or FZ-09. I have actually had that bike twice. I've owned it twice and sold it twice. That's how much I like that bike. But honestly, compared to those gas-powered motorcycles, I think this is more fun, to be honest. It's quiet, you can zip around, no one will know. You could really zip out in the backwoods or off-road once you get some off-road tires on here. And you're not as loud as a dirt bike. This is throttle therapy right here. So there it is, the Talaria XXX, a smaller version of the MX4. But what's great about it is it has the same motor and it has almost the same size battery, 40 amp hours. One thing that I'll mention is that I do think that the turning radius isn't as good as the MX4, because look, there's these little bump stops here. You see the bump stops that I'm pointing at? And as you turn them, they're gonna bump right into the battery body. You see that? And on this side, so here's what I'm talking about with the turning radius. You see the neck here is a lot more narrow versus the X. So this is as much as you can turn versus the Sting. You can turn this far. A little bit more turning radius. So that's going to be my first impressions. I think it is a go. It is a major, major, major go. That's a triple major go. So far, that's the highest go on my channel. Shout out to the notification squad for watching all my videos. Those who have the little bell icon, I really appreciate it. There aren't too many of us, but we're holding strong. I know this is a little different than my usual van life videos, but before I was into van life, I was into moto life, and now I'm just getting reconnected. Thanks so much for watching the video, guys, and as usual, stay weird. Peace.